February 13th. The time is 9:43. Good morning, you guys. I just wanted to read a couple more things to you here. I'm in St. Matthew's, chapter 16, verse 24, 25, and 26, 27, and 28. Okay? Then Jesus said unto his disciples, If any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and to follow me. Okay? You know, how did prosperity get mixed up with that? To think that by following Christ and what's in the world is doing his will. How is that possible? It's not. It's not possible. It's impossible, actually. Jesus, he came here to overcome what was in the world. And then, even in here where it says, even the devil tried to tempt Jesus Christ by making him ruler over nations, kingdoms. And if you look at the kingdoms that we have today, if you don't think Satan still wasn't putting people in those places, stop and think about it now. Now remember, the devil didn't know who he was. Okay, that's why he was saying, if you are the Son of God, then throw yourself down, lest you can. In other words, he had doubt about him then himself, okay? And then he said, if you'll worship me at my feet, I'll make you a kingdom where others will worship you. And he wouldn't have nothing to do with any of it. He came to overcome, and he also said his kingdom was not of this world, okay? And if we look at all the world leaders, at everything that they're doing around the world, they're going to serve God's purpose. They're going to do his will. In the end, they're going to do it. Just like you see in Russia, how they name their missiles that they're going to use. They're named Satan. And each missile has 10 warheads. Okay, so when they shoot one off, the 10 will divide and split out. And I've seen where they go off in various areas all over the place, man. And they're more powerful than what we used when we did it. But I don't see how people got this all twisted so easily. The Word of God says the wheat and the tares will be growing together. An enemy has come in. And we've always known from the beginning that the enemy was Satan. We've always known that he said the wheat and the tares would be growing together. How did they not expect to stay on guard knowing that if they're growing together, then surely they must be in the church? How did they not realize that, how close they really were? When I see people today, even around my age, women, we've become accustomed to it, but really it's not a natural thing. When they're dyeing their hair to hide their gray. Okay? Gray days are intended for us all. Okay? That's why they're called gray days. And that's why we have gray hair. To let us know the time that we are in. Therefore, it's somebody else's time for the time and the season that they're in. But when we try to actually look younger, to blend with what is younger, we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. That's not what God intended us to do. Remember, the wheat and the tares will be growing together, kind of blending together. And then you got to ask yourself, man, are we trying to blend with something that we don't blend with, Anyhow, for whoever will save his life shall lose it, and whoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it. For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? And what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? What made me just say that about the dyeing of the hair, I just seen some guy that's parked in front of me here. I'm over here doing my laundry now, and yes, they have free Wi-Fi here. And I'm here doing my laundry, and I'm using their Wi-Fi. But anyhow, you could easily see the guy was around my age. You know, you could see the years on his face. But he had a beard like me too, but not one gray hair in it. And you know, his hair, not it looked like he was in his like early 20s. You know, like you could definitely tell it was all dyed. Yeah, and then I looked on his door and I see that fish sign. You know, that's the Christian image. Let me tell you something. A lot of those guys are going to be jumping in that boat with the Antichrist. They're going to be jumping in it. Why? Because they love what's in this world. If they truly was watching what's written in here, they would know. They would know that there's a time and a place for everything, you guys. Here we are at the marriage dinner in Matthew 22. Now we also know it's written in St. Luke 21:34 through 36, not to let these days come upon you unaware, okay? And we know just by looking around how many people there are that are very unaware of this, including the churches, okay? The marriage dinner, this is something people don't talk too much about. But when, I'm going to start off in, you know, for me, I told you, it felt like deja vu to me when I was going to a lot of these churches in the beginning and trying to get them to see the time, what was going on. And they didn't want to hear it. And a lot of people were walking around me telling me they were busy, they had a barbecue, they were going to go do this or that. They were really in a hurry for these things. And I just sat there for a minute and I was thinking to myself, man, this feels like where it says that they were all busy. They made light of it. One went to one thing and another went to another thing. You know, their merchandise, their farms, or whatever. But they were busy. They didn't have time to hear the warning. Okay? So to me, it felt like deja vu. Then when the king heard of it, he was wroth. And he sent forth his armies to destroy those murderers and burned up their city. Then saith he to his servants, the wedding is ready, but they which were bidden were not worthy. Now, to not be worthy, here's this one guy driving by me right now. He's, you know, got his hair all, not a single gray hair. And he definitely looks, he looks older than me, you know. And it says right here, it says, go ye there to the highways, and as many as ye shall find, bid to the marriage. In other words, we're not going to be going to this wedding or the dinner until we get what the Word of God says. This is all in red letter, okay? It says both the bad and the good. We are to bid anybody that will listen to our voice, that will hear what we're saying, our message. Now, you know how many times we've been reaching out to people and people just won't hear what we got to say. Not even in the churches. And then I told you, a lot of these churches, man, they show me that 666 hand signed a lot. And I see it on these YouTube channels a lot too, man, where they're like preaching the Word of God, but at the same time, they're showing the 666 with their hand sign. I don't like that. And I see Hollywood doing it all the time. I see it in Washington. Trump's doing it. A lot of people are doing it, man. And I don't like it when I see that. It bothers me tremendously. And they do it in such a way that they hold their hand perfectly. I mean perfectly, to show that, sign like that. And I've never seen people doing it like I do today. 5, 10 years ago, man, I never seen people doing that. Never. Never. But now, today, it's like, man, it's like everybody's, oh, that's normal. No, it's not. It's not for me, and I don't think it is for those that are separated and chosen either. It says, as soon as we find those, good and bad, then it says, and the wedding was furnished with guests. Now, we know the 5 whys, until we get what he says, the wedding furnished, we're not going to go to it. And it clearly says before that, he sends his armies down here to destroy. Listen, when he sends his armies down here to destroy, you guys got to remember something. We are a host. Our bodies are a host. His armies can come down here and jump in and host anybody he chooses. He can jump in Vladimir Putin. He can jump in anybody and host their bodies like a puppet. Okay? And then destroy in any way he chooses. Okay? People are undermining this whole thing. I was shown that our bodies are nothing but a host. A host. I've been into the churches trying to talk to them about that too. They don't want to talk about it. Now, why do you think they don't want to talk about it? They don't want to imagine that something greater than themselves could actually jump inside of them and host them like a puppet. And they can. That's what I'm trying, my message is here. When he says he sends his armies down here, you're not going to see a bunch of people flying down here in alien ships. They're going to be spirits. This is a spiritual battle. You guys understand that, I hope. This is a spiritual battle. World War II, it was a spiritual battle. Okay? When we fall away from the Lord, the Most High, you can be sure. The Word of God says it over and over and over. Who came against Israel? It wasn't spirits. I mean, it was people being hosted. And they came against them. Okay? That's what I'm saying. If you're not... you're underestimating the power of our God. Far, far underestimating him, man. I'm telling you the truth. When he says, I sent my armies down there to destroy those murderers, to burn them up because they weren't worthy, what you'll be seeing is other people. Okay? But what you don't see is what's in them. Then he says you'll know them by what? By how they are. If they're evil, they're wicked, they're nice, they're kind. You know what I mean? But if he's sending his armies down here to destroy, I don't think they're going to be like friendly. You know, they're going to be destroying. And they're going to here to do his word. Okay? This is what you got to remember. You know, when I look at this and I'm studying it, I'm not imagining somebody coming from up above destroying it. I imagine these spirits, because the Bible, you guys know the Word of God says this is a spiritual battle, to pray without ceasing. Okay? Listen, I'm going to load this up, you guys. I just want to give you some food for thought, okay, to think about these things, because this is what's happening. You have to start seeing this from a different perspective. Now, nobody's ever really looked at things this way, but this is how we should be looking at it. Because this is what's happening, okay? God's powerful, man. The Lord of hosts, okay? You guys know what a host is, right? The Lord of hosts. You remember when Jesus was there on the shore and he told those guys to throw their nets in the... They said, did you catch anything? He said, nothing. And he said, throw your nets on the right side and you'll catch some. And they did, and then they caught a whole bunch of them. I think it was 153 altogether. 153. And then they couldn't even pull it in because it was so full. And then Peter jumped into the water to swim up to the shore, but he waited for the rest of them because he didn't recognize the guy standing there. He didn't know who he was, you know. And then when they all came, they all stood there, and he said, go bring in one of the fishes with you that you caught. And then when he did, you guys see that orb? And when he did, he took and they all held it out there to him because they knew that it was the Lord, but they dared not ask. Now, how is it that they knew that that was the Lord? He was in a different body. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? So when he says he's going to send his armies down here to destroy this place, you could be sure he's going to be coming in other bodies. It's not going to be what you think. Okay? God bless you guys. Boy, I wish we were in a place where we could really have a conversation, because I'd love to hear your conversation on all this, okay? I know the demonic spirit doesn't like what I'm saying, but I'm here to make sure you guys understand and you know what it is that we're dealing with, okay? God bless you. I love each and every one of you. Please see the description box, and I'm going to load this up on the Wi-Fi that I got here at the laundry mat. Yes, and it is free, in case any of the scoffers don't like that. God bless you all, man. I love you all.